What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. And we do usually start the show by being transparent. Didn't have any show yesterday and haven't made any plays so far yet in 2026. But Happy New Year to everybody out there. You as well, Mr. Rob Veno. I'm not sure if you've gotten involved yet to start the year, but it's good to be back with you.
Yeah, we were involved yesterday, Ski, but it's been college football heavy. Last 2 days, 6-1 in college football. Back at it again today. A couple of college basketball plays here. I skipped that yesterday. And of course, it's an NFL week. And so NBA is kind of taken somewhat of a back seat with so much going on here. Yeah, not only sports wise, Ski, but obviously New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, a lot going on outside of what we do for a profession here. So we'll look to see if we can find a couple on the card here. But I have to admit, NBA is taking a little bit of a backseat at the present time.
All right. Today, I agree. And holidays it's always tough around the holiday time doing all this stuff, but didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So today we're only going to talk about a few games that interest us, and then we'll get back to regular scheduled programming next week. So first game will be the first one that's actually in the rotation, 529, 530. Spurs and Pacers. It did open 5.5 for the Spurs. Looks like six, some 5.5s out there too. Total came down from 241.5 to 238.5. And first of all, I disagree with the move on the total. Um, no Wemby, a lot less defense for the Spurs. I think, like, I'm thinking about the games without Wemby. They've been giving up like 120 plus. I feel like all of these games. Pacers team total is a thought for me. Um, and also, I'm thinking about back in the Pacers side here, just because they're finally getting healthy. I know they've been on a crazy losing streak. They covered last game, but yeah, just getting healthy now, being at home here, catching a few possessions. I think they can start to play a little bit better. So lean Pacers or Pacers team total over. What do you think here, Vino? Spurs and Pacers.
Well, total makes complete sense, especially when, again, we talk about this a little bit of the time when a star player goes down, especially one who's amongst the top two, three scorers on the team. Money generally comes in on under, but there's no consideration for what you brought up, which is the defensive loss that San Antonio suffers without Wemby out there. You see player quotes almost on a nightly basis talking about how much more difficult it is to find any operating room when Wembanyama's on the floor. So total in some capacity over makes sense. Indiana, up until their last game against Orlando, had given up 140, 142, 126. So it's not like they're stopping anybody from scoring. I could see a full game play here, probably taking advantage of what could be an incorrect move toward the under. And I could see team total on either side, to tell you the truth. Indiana team total, certainly without Wembanyama in there, but I don't think I'd want to exclude anybody if it were me. So I would probably look over 238.5, a little pushback against where the money has come so far.
I can see that. I can see a lot of points in this game for sure. Next game I want to talk about here is Denver and Cleveland. It did open up. It says 10 here. It's all the way to 13.5. And total open 233.5 as high as 240. I agree with the move on the side here, Rob Vino. Cleveland has been playing better basketball lately. They're healthier than the Nuggets. Nuggets are playing a fourth straight road game and missing what, four or five starters now. Yes, we see this all the time. They step up for that first game, when the big superstar goes down. But are we going to expect this to continue? I don't think so. I don't like that Merrill's questionable for Cleveland, but I still think they're the right side. What do you think here, Vino?
Yeah, this Denver team is depleted. We talked the other day about Jokic going down, but you have Jamal Murray surrounded by the bench, basically, in this game for Denver. And I'd prefer basically to tail you in this one, obviously, as somebody who's been or at least noticed the Cleveland improvement a little bit ahead of the rest of the market. They are playing better, 4-1 last four against the spread. Their point production hasn't suffered at all. their team total has gone 5-2 over the course of their last 7. The game totals have gone 5-2 over their last 7. The way they like to play, with a little bit of pace and offensive minded, it's really hard to imagine Denver keeping up with all these second and third tier scorers on the floor. Jamal Murray, at some point in time, probably becomes too much to carry the load. Could start here tonight. You do have two teams going in really different directions at this point in time. It's funny how quickly the NBA sways, but got to get to it quickly. I'm just checking current number right now. I see up to 13.5 and up to 239. Cleveland team total here is 126.5, but Denver does give up in the 120s on a nightly basis. I'd probably lean toward the Cleveland team total over here. I just don't know how Denver's going to prevent them from scoring. I think 127 is a likely scenario for the Caps.
Mark says thoughts on Denver team total under. I could understand, they maybe miss it because they're missing so much scoring, but I could see a scenario where the Cavs are scoring so much they don't necessarily even care too much to, try to get stops anymore. So that's what will worry me there. All right. Elite DB21 says any size on Orlando or Chicago yet. I didn't really care for this game. Open 4.5, looks like 5 or 5.5 for Orlando. Total came all the way down from 241 to 232. I don't view Orlando as a team I want to lay with, especially on the road, especially with all these injuries. And the Bulls, they're also banged up, and they just have a lot to prove before I want to put my money on them as well. So it's an easy game to avoid for me. Rob Veno, anything for you on Orlando and Chicago?
Yeah, I think my immediate reaction here, Skee, on this one, and it doesn't happen often, was toward the under, but they have really chewed it up here. 241 down to 232.5, 8.5 point move. But Chicago game totals have been below this number 3 of the last 4, as the injuries, like you say, start to pile up. And the same on the Orlando side. I could see this being, Chicago likes tempo, Orlando's like tempo all season long, but I don't know that tempo, just based on what's going on lately, is going to result in points. This game probably started way too high based on full season statistics, where power ratings were, and not really adjusted, at least in my mind, for the way things are currently. Now, the market is adjusting the number for the odds makers. Still, 232 might be a little bit too high. I still have an inclination to play this one under 232. Haven't yet, but we'll see where I end up later in the day. But I could see this game staying under.
All right. Yeah, I mean, today's slate, I didn't really love. So, and we know it's the day after the holidays, all this stuff. Don't want to just be on here talking just to talk about these games. So, those are the 3 or the few that we're going to cover for today. Bino, I am just going to pass it to you. I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. If you have a best bet for the show, we love to hear it. If you don't, it's all good.
Promotion, I guess I would just say Weekend Warrior package, which now includes all sports. You hear Skee talk about it at the end of the show most of the time. It's $49, where it used to be just Saturday and Sunday football. Now it's Saturday, Sunday, all sports, college football, NFL football, NBA, and college hoop, which will have loaded cards from every Saturday throughout the rest of the year. So Weekend Warrior, I think, is probably the best thing to promote here. $49, full day Saturday, full day Sunday. Obviously, there's a couple of NFL games tomorrow as well. Pick up that package over at WagerTalk.com. Best bet, Skee. Obviously, we didn't talk about a lot NBA wise because we don't have strong feelings on these games per se. I won't leave a best bet from that particular sport. But I will say, for those that are playing college football, upcoming game here, Navy versus Cincinnati. It'll be the next one on the docket later this afternoon. If you are interested in college football, I do have a release on the Navy-Cincinnati game over the total of 58. Cincinnati, without its entire defensive secondary, 4/5 of it, a couple of their front 7 opted out of this game. They're missing like 6 defensive starters. But the offense stayed intact. intact. So I feel like both offenses are going to do the job here. Skee, it's been bet up this morning from 55 to 58. So we're losing a little bit of value. Still think it's worth it. Navy Cincinnati full game total over 58 points.
My bad. Good stuff there from Mr. Rob Veno. And I have two bets that I really want to make. And the reason I am not gonna make the other one a best bet right now is because I think if we wait, you get a better number. Um, as the injury report, goes through the day. The way it's looking right now, I think if you wait, you get a slightly better number. So it's not a rush to go bet that one right now. And I would hate to give it out now and then, later you can get a point and a half better or whatever. So for my best bet, I'm gonna go with the Pacers here. The best number you can get is +6. And really, I mean, it just boils down to they're not going to play as bad as they did to start the season all year long. A lot of it was how unhealthy they were. And like I mentioned, now you got a lot of those guys back. A couple key guys, Neesmith, big to be back in the lineup there. Um, I, I mean, Siakam. I don't know. Everybody's healthy now except for Toppin and Jackson. And I think that the lack of Wemby protecting the paint, the Pacers are going to have many ways to score in this game. So I think there's a buy sign on the Pacers. They covered last game. I think if you continue to bet on them every game, you'll make money in the near future. And I'll be on them tonight, +6 as my best bet for the show. Always good to break down the games and do the show with you. Appreciate you taking the time to do so. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate y'all tapping in and sharing y'all insight and all that good stuff as well. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their holiday. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. We'll be back to regular scheduled programming on Monday, and we will catch you all then.